But I think you put it very well when you said, them getting the inspection report and having that inspection report, it's not a pass or a fail. I think people see that it's almost like a buyer beware. It's for them. But the lending side, the appraisal is a pass or fail. Can you tell us some of the things that are most common on what pass or fail, right? Mostly fail on the lending side for those appraisals.
Completely fail or just requiring a little fix?
Yeah, I would say, probably a little fix. I've only seen one or two in my entire career that have been a condition 5 or something like that, where the quality of the home was so bad, it wasn't lendable in the eyes of the appraiser. That's literally happened very few times in the overall, my lending career. But let's talk about some of the ones that need to be repaired or done prior to the closing.
I think the most common unconventional is just missing handrails or missing landing off of steps. They're too far off the ground, and that's such an easy fix.
Carbon monoxide detectors, probably.
Yes, I was expecting her to go for that one right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean that's the stupidest and simple,
right?
Yeah, and it's a sore subject because we know
that it's not.
It's first of all, it's a very stupid thing because it's very easy to fix, and if you're doing your job right, it should be done before you guys show up, right? Because it's just such a simple thing. Like you can literally plug it into the wall within 15 feet of a bedroom.
Thank you.
Right.
Most people don't even know where it belongs.
Right here next to the oven.
Yeah, right here. Yeah. It has to be within 15 feet of every bedroom on a house that has a wood stove or has a attached garage. Is that right?
Or gas.
Or natural gas.
Or propane.
Or propane. Okay. Yeah, so there you go.
So, I mean, it's probably, 85-90% of homes?
Yeah, it's a lot of them. Almost every house that I go into as a listing agent doesn't have them. And I try to make sure that they're there before home inspections. It don't always happen, but it should happen. But when you guys call that out, because you have to call it out, you have to come back and re-inspect it. And I think that's a lot of what is a big misconception, is that you can't just send a picture to the appraiser that you've put in a carbon monoxide detector. It has to be that you've seen it and you certify that it's there. And I know that's something that you wrote down in the questionnaire. Oftentimes I've had several appraisers in our area that just say, "Oh, just send me a picture," and I know better. But I also, if I'm representing the buyer or the seller, like I also don't want to get charged $100. So I'm always just like, snap.
Well, the liability is going on the appraiser for that.
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah.
You're doing what he asked you to do, or she asked you to do.
Right.
But that's a question that I get. We do some of these, introductions with new realtors and stuff, and I try and explain to them, we cannot take other people's photos. And I know there's appraisers that do it. And the certification we sign, which is a 1004D or 442, specifically says, I inspected the repairs.
Right.
So
I visually inspected the repairs, right?
Why would I put my signature, my license on the line, assuming you put it in the right house and put it in the right spot? I did have another appraiser tell me, about a year ago, we were talking to another gentleman, and he told me that he used to use photos from realtors. And he went back to a house because that was the only subject to item, and the underwriter came back and had a question, and he had to go back to the house. And he went back, and the CO detector was gone. So the realtor put it in, took a picture, and then took it out.
Yeah.
It's the 20th house that CO detector's been in. So kind of the exception to that, though, is VA.
Okay.
We don't want to get the photo ourselves. But on a VA loan, if we call something out, then the realtor, the lender, the buyer, the seller, the next door neighbor, they can send a photo in.
Oh, wow.
And clear it.
Now, assuming it doesn't have anything to do with pre-HUD paint.
Yeah, pre-78 paint.
Yeah, pre-78 paint.
If we call out paint that's peeling prior to 78, that has to be inspected by us.
Yeah.
But if we require handrails on the front deck, you guys can supply those pictures to the lender. Now, that being said,
Only on the VA.
Only on
Right.
VA.
Correct.
Now, I've had quite a few VA lenders that will not accept it. They still want us to go back out.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a argument between VA and the lender and us, which way is the appropriate way. VA wants the lender to get it handled so there's no extra cost for the veteran. But the VA lender is not usually comfortable with that, because then they're taking the liability on. They want to put it on somebody else's shoulders like ours. So it just depends on the lender.
Yeah. Interesting.
VA is the only one that I've ever had allow that. No lender I've ever worked with allows that.
Because technically the underwriter or the SAR underwriter for the VA is the one that signs it off.
What's SAR?
I don't know the actual acronym, but it's the individual that issues what's called the notice of value for the VA. So the VA appraisal is not as relevant as the notice of value for the VA. That's what they actually use, which the directed underwriter from the VA is the one that signs that off. So that's why they have the ability. They can take that documentation and then they can sign off that condition.
So a SAR underwriter has extra expertise, I guess,
Correct,
extra
right.
knowledge. Like for FHA, it's called a DE underwriter. So for conventional, it's just an underwriter. So they all have their own little designations for their extra training.
Oh, cool. Like a principal broker and a broker and different. Okay. Cool. Didn't know that. Learned something today. Got it.
Good.
We aim to please.
We aim to please.